Hey there, friends. What's going on? This is David Potts with Song Notes and a quick lesson today where I'm going to show you 7 alternative ways to play the F chord. Now, I made this cheat sheet here. This is a 3-pager PDF. You can get it at my website, playsongnotes.com. What it does is for each of these 7 alternatives, in addition to the main 6-string version of the F, I'll show you a picture of it, a fretboard diagram, the guitar tab with your fingering mapped out, and I'll talk about when to use each chord, what the reason is for it, right? Because the reality is this: guitar is a tool where you want to pick the chord that's right for the situation. If you're going from a quick C to F to C, for example, you don't need to do any barring. You can just use the middle 4 strings. Sometimes you want to get those thinner strings and sort of get that sound, right? Other times you're doing some bassier stuff, right? And you want to use the thickest string. So that's just 3 of the options here, but there's a bunch more. Check this out. I'm going to show you in this video, so keep on watching and get this PDF over at my website. And the final cool thing is the PDF with links out to other lessons I've made that dive into some of these topics a bit further, and that includes a lot of the song lessons I've made that use the F chord. You can open this PDF on your phone, your iPad, your computer, whatever, click on the links, it takes you right to my stuff. So it's all good. Let's get into this one, and I'll show you how to play the F chord in a bunch of easier ways. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for the support. And if you're not supporting me, head on over to playsongnotes.com. For a few bucks a month, you can make these independent guitar lessons keep on coming, and you also get access to cheat sheets like this one, and you get a discount code on all my song sheet music as well. So a lot of great perks there for a very affordable price. But with that said, let's get into it, and I'll see y'all on the other side. Let's go. All right, y'all, so we're going to start this with the most full and complex and difficult to play version of the F. And I want to start with this just briefly to sort of tell you where all the roads lead. And that is going to this 6-string version right here, okay? From thickest to thinnest string, we have first, third, third, second, first, first. Now, this is the F chord you're going to see on those guitar posters, and it's like the typical version of the F. If you were to look up how to play it, they would show you that version. The thing about this one, though, is it's the most difficult, I'd say, of all the other Fs I'm going to teach you. And the reason why is, number one, you have to have your barring strength good. And by barring strength, I'm talking about you need to be able to push down all the strings with just your index finger so they're making a clean sound, okay? Then you need to add your ring, pinky, and middle fingers on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings so that you're doing 1st fret, 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, 1st fret. And you're going to notice when you're starting to learn this, if you haven't done barring before, it's just difficult. Like if your barring strength isn't good, you might get some buzzing, it might not sound complete, right? So let me show you all the other versions, and then throughout all the chords I'm about to show you, I'm going to talk about here and there how they relate to this version. Because if you practice all or even some of these versions I'm about to show you, they're going to make this easier in a few different ways. Okay, so let's get into it. And the final note I'll say about that first chord, I can play it. However, most of the time, whenever I'm playing F in a song, 80% of the time, I'm using other versions of F, easier versions of F, right? You really have to sort of bring your elbow in to play this, at least comfortably, at least if you're me. Whereas other versions, you can just switch to, and it's a lot easier and a lot more approachable. Let's look at the second version now. This is what I'm calling the little baby F, okay? This is the simplest possible version. It's just the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. From the 4th string, we're going 3rd fret with our ring finger. Middle finger is on 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And our index finger is on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. I don't have a pick in my hand right now, but if you had a pick, you just want to play those 3 strings. Okay? Now, if you can, when you're playing this one, you don't really want to strum the 4th string or the 5th string or the thinnest string, because they're going to give you notes that aren't in the chord. So what you can do is kind of what's called mute them, meaning if you kind of lean the pinky, just let it rest on that 1st string. That way, if you happen to play the 1st string, it won't make a noise, right? And similarly, with the 5th string, this is not required, but if this finger touches the 5th string, as mine's doing here, the 5th string won't make a noise either. So that way, it gives you a nice little buffer safety zone. But even with that said, if you were to let the 5th string and the open string ring, it doesn't necessarily sound terrible. It's going to give it more of an F major 7 version voicing, which I'm going to get to later. Try really to mute that thinnest string if you can. And otherwise, this is a good version of the F where you can go from the C to the F to the C. Okay, look how close those are with finger position. this finger staying still if you're starting on a C chord. And then these two fingers are sort of diagonal from each other. You go to that F, you go back to the C. It's a great little exercise to practice. And if you want to spice it up one more time, go from the that to the G with your ring finger down here, ring in middle. Then they go back to the C, then back to the F, and back to the C. I have a whole bunch of little exercises like this on my Key of C cheat sheet. That's a separate PDF. I have it available over on my Patreon page. So some cool stuff you can do. Now let's move on to this middle 4 strings version of the F. This is my favorite version of the F. I use it probably 75% of the time whenever I need an F chord. All it is the middle 4 strings, third, third, second, first. Okay? Similar to a C chord, we're going to have our ring finger on the 5th string and our index finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. And then, for a C chord, you're like this. For this middle 4 string version, sometimes it's called an F over C. What we're going to do is put our pinky on the 3rd fret of the 4th string and our middle finger down on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Again, practice that C to F to C transition with this. Only 2 of your fingers are moving. Okay, it's a great thing to get used to this chord with. It can feel a bit crowded and cramped at first. I know when I first started learning this one, it felt like a lot going on there. But now that I'm used to it, I don't even think about it anymore. Super easy to get into, super easy to get out of. It's also easier to mute the thickest string and thinnest string when you're doing this version. And that's because your sort of thumb is naturally kind of wrapped around anyway. Just touch your thumb to the thickest string. And likewise, with the thinnest string, your index finger is on the 2nd string. So if you just kind of go like that a little bit, it's going to mute that string. So that way, I kind of get an F sound. I'm muting the thickest and thinnest strings, and it's easy to get in and out of. Okay, so that's the middle string version of the F. Now there's 2 advanced tips for this chord. One is your thumb is right here anyway, you can kind of lean your thumb into that 1st fret on the low E string, and you can actually play that that low F. This is an F note right here. If you push down the 1st fret of the low E string. So this is the thickest 5 strings now. Likewise, another little tip you can do is take this 4-string voicing and then kind of lean your hands, like your index finger, hard into that 1st string. And if you're able to, you can actually get the thinnest string ringing out, right? And then if you combine that with this thumb, you have a 6-string F. No barring required, with the exception of this finger, which is barring the thinnest 2 strings. This is a very advanced technique. Don't expect to get it overnight. It took me a while to get, but it's definitely one you want to keep in your mind. It makes learning this worth it because you can sort of evolve it and level it up to be able to do this. Okay, let's move on now. Let's look at the thinnest 4 strings version of the F. This one's very much handy. It has its place. The idea here, some people call this the baby F. To me, this is the baby F, right? But when I say that, I mean this 3-string version. This is a newborn baby F. If the newborn baby F grows up a little bit, you might find it adds that thinnest string, 1st fret. Okay, so we have ring finger, middle finger, index finger, index finger. When you do your barring, you don't have to do it like totally parallel to the frets. You can kind of be at an angle like that. This one is awkward to play. Like I always feel like something should be wrong. I should be muffling strings. But when you get it, right? And the benefit of this one is that sometimes you really want this thinnest string to ring. For example, you might be going from a G to an F to a C. And you really want that sort of descending, those notes to be heard, right? From the G. But you don't want to go to a full F bar because it might be too laborious for that circumstance. So that's the kind of place where this sort of F comes in handy. You think of the song Night Moves by Bob Seger? Right? He's just going from G to F to C, and then C to F to G. But the way I like to do it to get that sort of treble note is by doing this sort of thinnest 4-strings version of the F. So this is one to keep in mind. It's a good sort of gateway drug to sort of being able to do the full bar. The way you bar 6 strings is you learn how to bar 5 strings. And the way to learn how to bar 5 strings is you learn 4. And you work backwards. You start with barring 2 strings. That's your first homework assignment for doing the 6-string bar. Once you can do 2, you do 3. Once you can do 3, you do 4. Right? I have a whole lesson on this. It's lesson number 99 over on my website, playsongnotes.com. It shows you the bar exercise I learned to be able to do a full bar. So anyway, that is the thinnest 4-string version of the F chord. Again, it's nice because it sort of builds up those the muscles you need to do full bars later on, and also it is just a nice version that captures this thinnest note. You can also just do a triad, the thinnest 3 strings. From a C to that triad to back to a C. When I say triad, I just mean the thinnest 3 strings of the thinnest 4-string F. So 2nd fret, 1st fret, 1st fret, okay? So you can bring it up 2 frets, which makes it a G, back down to the F, back down to a C. Okay, so that is the thinnest 4-string F. Let's look at a few others here. So this one is called the thickest 4-string F. There's no barring going on here. With this one, what I'll say about it is it's training your fingertips where they need to go in order to play the barred 6-string version of this chord, okay? 1st fret, 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. This is actually a very handy shape to learn because, number one, you can move it up the fretboard. You could play a G if you do 3, 5, 5, 4. You can play an A if you do 5, 7, 7, 6. You know, a C is right here. This is also the shape that you'll use in a B minor. 2nd, 4th, 4th, 3rd. In a C sharp minor. So I'm not doing any barring on these. I'm just doing 4 strings in a row. And whether you do this minor shape for the B minor, for the C sharp minor, for the E minor, or you do the major shape for the F, for the G, for the A, for the C, this is a shape that really helped me open up the fretboard and learn the fretboard and sort of show me the possibilities of how many things I could play with just one shape. So this is one I really like. You can sort of easily, and I say easily with a grain of salt, right? It takes some practice, but it's fairly straightforward to mute those thinnest 2 strings because of the way your hands are positioned. Right? All I'm doing there is doing that shape on the 8th fret, that's a C, down to that shape on the 1st fret, which is the F, and on the 3rd fret, which is a G. Okay, that's the 1, the 4, the 5, and the key of C. Again, check out my key of C cheat sheet for alternate voicings of the C and the F and the G. Those are 3 chords you're going to use together all the time. Okay, a couple more I want to show you here. One is this F add 9. This one is nice and approachable. Basically, take that little mini baby F I showed you, right? 3rd, 2nd, 1st frets, and we're going to add on the thinnest string, 3rd fret, with our pinky. This is an F add 9, okay? This is the 9th tone of the F scale if you're starting right here, so that's why they call it that. Now, the cool thing about this one is lots of different neighboring chords, like your C, can also have their pinky right here, and your G, and your A minor, even your E minor. And with those chords, you can play a lot of cool stuff. This is something else I have in my key of C cheat sheet, right? It's no mistake that all these things are related. These are all chords you're going to have in the key of C, the F included. Going from this F add 9 to a C, to a G, to a C is a nice little exercise you can do. Okay, so this is your F add 9. It's not going to work for all the cases where you will need an F, but it's good to know about. A similar one is the F major 7, which is the little baby F with the open high E string. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, open. From a C to an F major 7. It won't work for all cases where you need that F. Sometimes you need this note right? If you have the thinnest 4-string version. If you need that thinnest string, use the thinnest string version. But sometimes you want that major 7th. I recently learned 7 Summers by Morgan Wallen. It starts with a C major 7 to an F major 7. Okay, the major 7th tone gives chords a nice wistful kind of dreamy sound, which is nice to have in your bag of tricks. Now there's one more I want to show you here. This is the wrapped thumb version of the F. This is one you're going to need a lot when you do finger picking, especially Travis picking. Start with that little baby mini F I showed you at the very beginning, right? And then we're going to wrap our thumb. I don't mean you don't go like that, right? You kind of bring your elbow in, your thumb is kind of rolling this way and forward. Spent some time with it. It took me a long while to get the hang of this. But basically, thumb on the bass string right here, and then I do index middle ring on 4th, 3rd, 2nd strings. Practice going between this C and this F. Okay, now for finger style, how little I was doing with the chord movement there? If I was going like this, it would just be so much more work over the course of a song. That's why all these other versions of the F are totally worth learning, because of these practicalities, okay? So I have a whole separate lesson just on this wrapped thumb F. It's lesson 244 on my website, playsongnotes.com. If you want to learn that one, and if you want to see some of the fingerstyle songs that use that voicing, check that out. It's going to help you out, okay? Now, that's about it. I'll say this, in my PDF for this one, on page 2 at the bottom, I linked to 2 lessons. One is the bar chord strength technique. Lesson 99 is going to show you how to work on your bar chord strength, if that's what you're interested in. I also have a bunch of these other cheat sheets. If you're interested in them, go to playsongnotes.com. And then finally, on page 3 of the PDF, I have not all the songs, a bunch of songs I picked from my website which use the F chord. So here's the link. If you get this PDF, you can actually click on this link. It'll take you right to those lessons. And that way, you're going to be armed with all these different ways to play the F major chord, okay? You can watch my lessons. You're going to see in different lessons, I'm going to use different versions of these. And sometimes you can take maybe I'm using a full F. You can just say, I'm going to do that thinnest middle 4-strings F that he uses. I'm telling you, this is going to get you there for 80% of the songs. This is going to be fine. And it's going to require 20% of the effort compared to going like this. In my opinion, at least. So thanks very much for watching, y'all. Again, get the cheat sheet. Playsongnotes.com. It's lesson 392. Check out the other cheat sheets I've made as well. I'm trying to help you all play guitar. Just pick it up, play it, have fun with it, explore it. It's not called work. I heard Justin Sanderco say that. You don't work your guitar, you play it, right? So I really want to drive that home. Thanks very much for watching, y'all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. And until then, my friends, bye-bye.